This is a quick getting started guide to the JPIC. This time I am going to be talking about the documents, where the documents are, and a bit about how some things work. Under Start, Programs, J, we have user documents and XC documents. XC16 documents are the compiler, while the user documents are just ones I've included, and you can add more of them. So go to the documents I downloaded. The normal place I would start is this file here, JPIC 802. This document tells you about the PIC chip that's used on the board. It's rather large, but you can go to various sections. So if you're just interested in, say, the real-time clock, it talks about the real-time clock. The first bit is always in a black box, and it summarizes the information, and for more information you see this document that they mentioned there. So what I would do is copy that, and I would have a look to see if it's in my user documents I've already downloaded. If not, I would go to the website and do an internet search for it, and usually it's the very first document. In this case, it's actually the second one, so it's this one. It's usually the first though, and that'll go into more in-depth detail about how the real-time clock works. The XC16 documents, on the other hand, they are microchip ones, and it's actually a web page, and it just gives you things as hyperlink text, which will open up PDFs or HTML stuff. So if you want to know about the standard libraries and maths function, you can click on that, and it talks about that and the various functions. So that's also a good place for information. So if we go to JQT Creator and start the IDE, and we create a new project or file, other projects, JPIC applications, choose, call it a test, configure it for the JPIC, finish. If we want to create an application that makes just, say, a sine wave, we want to add some support for a wavetable and audio, because we want to output a sine wave to the digital to analog converter. A wavetable is a complex numerically controlled oscillator, so we can use that to create a sine wave. Now this config plus equals things we want to add, what does it mean, and how do we know that the things that we can add to it? Well, this is actually just a short way of typing various things for adding extra sources and headers to our project. So the config thing is what QMake calls features. Features comes in a folder that is in the same folder as this bootloader memory reserve. So if we right click on it, we can then left click show in Explorer, and we can see the features folder. This file here, j.prf, we can open in a text editor, and this is how the configuration features are added. So when we type WT, effectively what it's doing is it's adding two files, one to the source, one to the header, and if it doesn't contain something called multiply fract, it will then add them too, because it needs that support. So this is where all those names come from. So we can see audio is up here, buttons, OLED, timer 2, wavetable, 32-bit FFT, a filter designer, some fractional multiplication stuff, single bin FFT thing, Arduino compatibility. So you can add more features as you go, or you can use the ones I've already added. So that's how the config thing works. So now we've added them, we'll make a quick example of just creating an audio sine wave. We need to include the audio drivers. We need to include the wavetable. Now wavetable is actually under JDSP, so things like the button drivers I have in their own directory, other little things I just dump in this JDSP. If you don't know where they're included from, once again you can go to features and the PRF file, and you can look to see where they were. You can see wavetable is under JDSP, while the audio is in a folder called audio driver. So that allows us that. We need to know how to use the audio driver. We can see this is how we use it. So we copy the example, and we can paste it into here, select it all, control / gets rid of all those. We don't need the analog to digital converter in this test. Get rid of that, get rid of that. We then need to know how the wavetable works. It's initialize, and then we'll copy the initialize. Control / 1K, and we can copy that, control space. That actually is the frequency. The difference between that and that is just a code for that audio start uses. This is the actual frequency in hertz, which the wavetable needs. And then we can also see the wavetable. We just step it, then do something with the value. So step it and wavetable dot value, which is complex, so we'll use the real, which is a fractional, and that is a Q16, which is a fractional. And that'll do it. So we can run that. And burn it. And that should produce a 1 kilohertz sine wave, which you should be able to listen to. It's this one. So listen. Which I hope you can hear. So that's taken a few things, documents, how the configuration thing works, the difference between the user documents and the XC16 documents.